The ship shook as it entered Earth's atmosphere. Inside, Tejo gripped his control panel. This was not how the mission was supposed to start. "Warning. Shield damage at 60%, said the ship's computer in a calm voice. Tejo frowned. He had studied Earth for years, but the planet's atmosphere was more violent than their data showed. The Nuri High Command had chosen him for this mission because of his calm mind and careful nature. Right now, he needed both. Find a safe landing. Spot away from human cities, he told the computer. Scanning. Landing zone found. Preparing emergency landing. Tejo watched through the view screen as his small ship dropped below the clouds. Green hills and small farms spread out below him. In the distance, he could see tall buildings near the ocean. The ship's computer identified this as Busan, a city in a place called South Korea. The ship hit the ground hard. Tejo felt the impact through his whole body. Warning lights flashed all around him. Damage report, he said when the ship stopped moving. Main engine damaged. Communication system damaged. Cloaking system offline, the computer replied. Self-repair. Will take approximately 90 Earth days. Tejo took a deep breath. 90 days was much longer than planned. This was a simple scouting mission. He was supposed to observe humans for 10 days, then return to the mothership with his report. Send. Emergency message to command, he ordered. Unable to send message, communication system damaged. This was bad. Without the cloaking system, his ship might be discovered by humans. Without communications, he couldn't call for help. Tejo knew what he had to do. Activate full self-repair mode. I will return when repair is complete. Warning. Leaving the ship in human territory is against protocol. I am aware, Tejo said, but staying here risks discovery. He stood up and walked to the back of the ship. Inside a small room, Tejo stepped into a chamber that would change his appearance. The Nuri had studied humans carefully. Their technology could make Tejo look exactly like a human man. The chamber hummed. Tejo felt his skin tingle as his blue skin turned to a warm tan color. His large black eyes shrank and changed to dark brown. His long fingers shortened to match human hands. When the process finished, Tejo looked at himself in the reflection panel. A young Korean man looked back at him. Tejo put on the human clothes the computer had made for him. He packed a small bag with special tools, including his data recorder and translator. Most importantly, he took his emergency communicator, a small device that looked like what humans called a watch. Remember your training, he told himself. Observe, record. Do not interfere. Do not form attachments. The ship's door opened. Fresh air rushed in, carrying the scents of plants and earth. Tejo had never smelled anything like it. His planet's air was clean but had no smell. This air was full of life. He stepped outside and touched the ground with his new feet. The dirt felt cool and soft. Birds sang in nearby trees. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors Tejo had only seen in training videos. Incredible, he whispered. A sound made him turn quickly. Something was coming through the trees. Tejo pressed a button on his watch, making his ship invisible, just in time. A human woman walked into the small clearing. She carried a large bag on her back and held a strange device that Tejo recognized as a telescope. She stopped when she saw him, looking surprised. "Oh, hello there," she said. Tejo's translator worked perfectly in his ear. He understood her words, but needed to be careful with his reply. His studies had taught him the local language, but speaking, it naturally was different. "Hello," he said simply. The woman looked around. "Are you lost? There's no hiking trail up here." Tejo tried to remember his training about human interactions. What would a human say? Yes. I am lost. My car broke, down on the road below. I walked to find help. The woman nodded. You're pretty far from any road. She looked at his clothes and frowned. Tejo realized he might have made a mistake in his story or appearance. I'm Hanul, she said, studying him carefully. I work at the observatory down the mountain. I am Tejo, he replied, using the name he had chosen for his human form. Well, Tejo, it will be dark soon. It's not safe to wander these hills at night. She pointed to a path. My cabin is about 20 minutes that way. You can use my phone to call for help. Teho hesitated. Getting close to humans wasn't part of the plan, but he needed to blend in until his ship was fixed. And Hanul's observatory sounded like a place where humans studied stars. That could be useful for his mission. Thank you. You are kind. Hanul smiled. Follow me. Watch your step on the path. As they walked, Hanul talked about the stars. She was coming to the hill to watch a meteor shower. Teho listened carefully. Her knowledge of space was impressive for a human, though still very basic compared to Nuri science. Do you like astronomy? She asked. Yes, Teho answered honestly. The stars are my work. Really? Are you an astronomer too? Teho realized his mistake. He couldn't tell her his real job was studying humans for an alien civilization. I study how stars affect life, he said carefully. This wasn't exactly a lie. An astrobiologist, that's fascinating. Hanul's eyes lit up. I've always wondered if there's life out there among the stars. Teho almost laughed at the irony. There might be, he said. They reached a small wooden cabin. It sat on the edge of the hill with a perfect view of the sky. Next to it was a larger building with a dome on top, the observatory. Come in, Hanul said, opening the door. I'll make some tea while you call for help. Teho stepped into his first human home. The space was small but comfortable. Books filled the shelves. Strange devices sat on tables, and the smells, so many smells he couldn't identify. Sit anywhere, Hanul called from another room. Phone's on the table. Teho pretended to use the phone, then set it down. When Hanul returned with 2 steaming cups, he said, No answer. I left a message. You can stay here tonight then, she said, handing him a cup. It's too late to walk back down. Teho took the cup carefully. The warm liquid inside smelled strong and sweet. He watched Hanul drink from her cup, then did the same. The flavor exploded in his mouth. Nothing in his training prepared him for this sensation. The Nuri didn't eat or drink for pleasure, only for nutrition. This is amazing, he said, his eyes wide. Hanul laughed. It's just green tea with honey. But I'm glad you like it. As the night grew darker, they sat by the large window. Hanul pointed out constellations, telling stories about each one. Teho recorded everything in his mind. These weren't scientific facts, but human stories, how they saw the universe. Look, Hanul suddenly pointed up. A bright light streaked across the sky, then another and another. The meteor shower is starting, she said softly. Isn't it beautiful? Teho looked at the falling stars, then at Hanul's face. Her eyes reflected the lights in the sky. She looked happy, peaceful. Something stirred inside him. A feeling he didn't recognize. Yes, he said quietly. Beautiful. As meteors fell through Earth's night sky, Teho felt something unexpected. For the first time since landing, he forgot about his mission. He forgot about the ship. He forgot about the Nuri. He just watched the stars with Hanul and wondered what the next 90 days would bring. Morning came with golden light through the window. Teho opened his eyes and for a moment forgot where he was. The soft blanket covering him, the wooden ceiling above, these were not things from his world. Then he remembered. The crash. The emergency landing. The human woman. Hanul knocked softly on the door. Teho, are you awake? Breakfast is ready. Yes, I am awake, he called back, sitting up on what Hanul had called a couch. In the small kitchen, Hanul placed 2 bowls on the table. Steam rose from them, carrying new smells that made Teho's stomach react in a strange way. Rice porridge with vegetables, Hanul explained. Simple but good. Teho sat down and watched how Hanul used the wooden sticks to eat. He copied her movements. The food was warm and full of flavor. On his planet, nutrition came in simple forms without taste. This was different. Every bite brought new sensations. "Did you call for help again?" Hanul asked. Taeho had prepared for this question. "Yes. My friend will come, but not for many days. He is far away." "You can stay here until then?" Hanul offered. "I have the extra room. I could use help at the observatory too." This was perfect for Taeho's mission. Living with a human would give him the chance to study their daily life up close. "Thank you. I will help." After breakfast, Hanul took him to the observatory. The main room had a large telescope pointing through the open roof. Computers lined the walls showing star maps and data. "I track near-Earth objects," Hanul explained. "Asteroids, comets, anything that comes close to our planet. The university funds my research." Taeho looked at her equipment. It was simple compared to Nuri technology, but impressive for humans. "What is this?" he asked, pointing to a screen showing a rocky object. "That's the asteroid I've been tracking for months. It will pass close to Earth next year." She smiled. "Don't worry, not close enough to hit us." If only she knew how easily the Nuri could move such objects, Taeho thought. His people had been protecting Earth from major impacts for centuries, though humans never knew it. "Today, we're going into town," Hanul said. "I need supplies and you need some clothes if you're staying." Taeho felt a rush of excitement and worry. A human town meant more data for his mission, but also more chances to make mistakes. They drove down the mountain in Hanul's small car. Taeho watched everything with wide eyes, the trees, the road signs, the other cars passing by. His training had covered human technology, but seeing it used in daily life was different. The town was busy and noisy. People walked quickly on the streets. Cars honked. Music played from shops. Taeho's senses were overwhelmed with information. "Are you okay?" Hanul asked, noticing his stiff posture. "Yes. Just many people. Let's get what we need quickly then." They entered a store with rows of colorful clothes. Hanul helped him choose pants, shirts, and a jacket. Taeho was surprised by how much humans cared about what covered their bodies. On his world, everyone wore the same simple suits. Next, they stopped at a market for food. The variety shocked Taeho. Fruits, vegetables, meats, and things he couldn't name filled the stalls. Hanul bought bags full of items explaining each one. "And this is kimchi," she said, pointing to red fermented vegetables. "It's spicy but delicious." As they walked through the market, a loud voice called out, "Hanul, is that you?" A tall man with a bright smile waved at them. He wore a white coat stained with food. "Ji-woo," Hanul smiled. "I didn't know you were working today. Every day. The restaurant never stops." Ji-woo looked at Taeho with curious eyes. "Who's your friend?" "This is Taeho. He's staying with me for a while." His car broke down near the observatory. Ji-woo shook Taeho's hand firmly. The Nuri wasn't used to this form of greeting, but he had studied it. "Any friend of Hanul is welcome at my restaurant," Ji-woo said. "You must come eat tonight. I'm trying a new recipe." Hanul looked at Taeho. "What do you think? Ji-woo is the best chef in town." Taeho nodded. "I would like that." That evening, they sat at a small table in Ji-woo's restaurant. The walls were covered with pictures of food and smiling people. Music played softly in the background. Ji-woo brought out plates of food, each one more colorful than the last. He explained each dish with big hand movements and proud smiles. "Try this one first," he told Taeho, pointing to something covered in red sauce. Taeho took a bite. Heat exploded in his mouth. His eyes watered. His face felt like it was burning. Ji-woo laughed. "Too spicy?" Taeho couldn't speak. He grabbed his water and drank it all. "I should have warned you," Hanul said, looking worried. "Korean food can be very spicy." When Taeho could finally speak, he surprised himself. It was good, different but good. Ji-woo slapped the table with joy. He likes it. Finally, someone who appreciates real flavor. As they ate, another person joined their table. A quiet man with careful hands and thoughtful eyes. "This is Dae-sung," Hanul said. He fixes everything in town. Dae-sung, this is Taiho. Dae-sung nodded but said little. He listened more than he talked. Taeho found himself comfortable with this human who didn't ask too many questions. The night grew long with food and conversation. Jiwoo told loud stories about cooking disasters. Hanul talked about stars. Dae-sung sometimes added small, wise comments that made everyone nod. Taeho watched them all. His mission was to study humans as a species, but now he was seeing them as individuals. Each one different, each one complex. When they finally left the restaurant, the night air was cool. Stars filled the sky above the town lights. "Did you enjoy tonight?" Hanul asked as they walked to the car. "Yes," Taeho said honestly. "Your friends are interesting. They liked you too." Hanul looked up at the stars. "Sometimes I think the universe brings people together for a reason." If she only knew how far across that universe he had come to meet her, Taeho thought. That night, back at the cabin, Taeho took out his small communicator. He needed to send a report about what he had learned. But as he began recording, he found himself leaving things out. He didn't mention how Jiwoo gave free food to an old man who came to the back door of the restaurant. He didn't report how Dae-sung quietly fixed a child's broken toy while the adults talked. He didn't describe how Hanul's eyes sparkled when she looked at the stars. These things were not important data for the Nuri. These were personal observations. Feelings. Taeho put the communicator away. For the first time in his life, he didn't complete a mission report properly. Outside, the Earth's moon shone bright through his window. Taeho stood watching it for a long time. 87 more days until his ship was repaired. 87 more days on this strange, overwhelming, wonderful planet. He was no longer sure if that was too long, or not long enough. 2 months passed quickly. Taeho settled into life on Earth with surprising ease. Each morning, he helped Hanul at the observatory. She taught him how to use the telescope and track objects in space. In return, Taeho fixed small problems with her equipment. His Nuri knowledge of technology made this easy, though he was careful not to seem too skilled. In the afternoons, he often visited Jiwoo's restaurant. The chef was teaching him how to cook simple dishes. Taeho found the process fascinating. The mixing of ingredients, the careful timing, the way humans turned a basic need into an art form. "You're a natural," Jiwoo said one day as Taeho perfectly flipped vegetables in a hot pan. "Are you sure you weren't a chef before you came here?" Taeho smiled. "No, we do not cook much where I come from." "Where is that again?" Jiwoo asked, adding sauce to the pan. Taeho paused. He had been vague about his past. "Far north," he said finally. "Very different from here. Sometimes Dae-sung would visit the cabin. The quiet man brought broken things to fix while they talked." Hanul called these repair parties, though they involved little noise and much concentration. Taeho enjoyed watching Dae-sung's careful hands bring dead machines back to life. One sunny afternoon, a young girl came running up the path to the cabin. She had bright eyes and a smile missing 2 front teeth. "Aunt Hanul," she called out. "Hanul," opened the door with a big smile. "Sumin." What a surprise. The girl hugged Hanul tight, then noticed Taeho standing behind her. "Who's that?" she asked, suddenly shy. "This is my friend Taeho," Hanul said. "He's staying with me for a while." "Taeho, this is my niece Sumin." Taeho had never interacted with a human child before. His training hadn't covered this. He bent down to her level. "Hello, Sumin." The girl studied him with serious eyes. Then she asked, "Do you know about stars too?" "Yes," Taeho said. "I know many things about stars. Can you show me?" That night, Taeho found himself sitting on the observatory roof with Sumin and Hanul. The sky was clear and full of bright dots. Sumin asked question after question. "Why are stars different colors? How far away are they? Are there other planets?" Taeho answered carefully, making his knowledge sound human. But Sumin's curiosity reminded him of himself when he was young. On his planet, children were taught facts about the universe but never encouraged to wonder about it. "Are there aliens?" Sumin asked suddenly. Hanul laughed. What do you think, Taiho? Taiho looked up at the stars that hid his true home. The universe is very big, he said. It would be strange if Earth was the only planet with life. Su Min nodded seriously. I think aliens would be nice, not scary like in movies. I hope so, Hanul said, looking at Taiho with a smile. Later, that night after Su Min went to bed, Taiho checked his ship's repair status. Only 10 more days until it was fixed. 10 more days until he was supposed to leave Earth and report back to his people. The thought no longer filled him with relief. Instead, he felt a heaviness in his chest. He had a word for this now. Sadness. In the morning, Taiho woke to a strange sound. The ground was shaking. Pictures fell from walls. Glass broke in the kitchen. Earthquake, Hanul shouted from the other room. Taiho, get under something solid. Taiho had read about earthquakes but never experienced one. The cabin creaked and groaned around them. He made his way to Hanul's room. She stood in the doorway holding onto the frame. Is this normal? He asked, raising his voice over the noise. No, this is a big one. The shaking stopped after a minute that felt much longer. Hanul checked her phone. It was strong. The center was near town. Her face went pale. Su Min is at the school in town today. Taiho understood immediately. We should go find her. They drove down the mountain fast. The road had cracks in it. Trees had fallen in some places. When they reached town, they saw the damage was bad. Some buildings had collapsed. People were in the streets, many hurt and crying. The school, Hanul said, pointing ahead. The large building was still standing, but part of the roof had fallen in. They parked and ran toward the school. Teachers were leading children out to a field, counting them, calling names. Hanul searched the groups. I don't see Su Min, she said, her voice shaking. A teacher with a cut on her forehead told them. Some children were in the east wing when the ceiling collapsed. Rescue teams are on their way. Hanul covered her mouth with her hand. That's where Su Min's classroom is. Taiho looked at the damaged building. He could see people trying to get inside, but parts were still falling. It wasn't safe. Most humans were running away from the danger. But some, firefighters, police, regular people, were running toward it trying to help. This wasn't in his training. The Nuri believed humans were selfish and primitive, but these humans were risking their lives for others. Then Taiho heard a familiar voice. Hanul! Taiho! Jiwoo ran up to them, his chef's coat dirty and torn. Are you okay? Su Min is still in there, Hanul said, pointing at the school. Jiwoo's face became serious. Daesung is helping rescue teams. He knows the building. He fixed their heating system last winter. Just then they heard a loud crack. More of the roof caved in. People screamed. Hanul tried to run toward the building, but Jiwoo held her. Back, wait, it's too dangerous. Taiho made a decision. His mission rules were clear: never reveal his true abilities, never interfere. But Su Min was in danger. I will find her, he said. No, Taiho, wait for the rescue teams. Hanul grabbed his arm, but Taiho was already moving. He ran toward the damaged school, dodging falling debris. Inside, dust filled the air. He heard coughing and crying from deeper in the building. Taiho activated his Nuri senses. His eyes adjusted, letting him see through the dust. His hearing sharpened, picking up a small voice calling for help. He followed the sound to a classroom where the ceiling had collapsed. A heavy beam blocked the door. With a quick look around to make sure no one was watching, Taiho used his true strength. He lifted the beam, something no human could do, and pushed it aside. Inside the classroom, a small group of children huddled under desks. Among them was Su Min, her face dusty but unharmed. Taiho, she cried out. Come, he said. Quickly, he led the children through the dangerous building, using his enhanced senses to avoid falling debris. When they reached the exit, a crowd of parents waited anxiously. Children ran to their families. Hanul pushed through the crowd. Su Min, the May girl ran to her aunt. Taiho saved us. He was so strong. He moved things no one else could move. Hanul looked at Taiho with questions in her eyes. Before she could speak, the ground shook again. An aftershock. More of the school collapsed behind them. "We should go," Teho said. But he knew the questions would come later. He had broken his most important rule. Hanul had seen him do impossible things. His cover was blown, and his ship would be ready to leave in less than 10 days. The town was in chaos after the earthquake. Roads were broken. Buildings had fallen. People were hurt and needed help. Hanul's cabin on the mountain was safe, so they turned it into a small shelter. Jiwoo cooked simple meals for everyone. Dae-sung fixed what he could. Taeho helped move heavy things that others couldn't lift, but through it all, Hanul watched Taeho with new eyes. She had seen him lift impossibly heavy debris at the school. She had watched him lead children through dark hallways as if he could see perfectly. These were not normal human abilities. That night, when the others were asleep, Hanul found Taeho sitting alone outside. The stars shone bright above them. "We need to talk," she said quietly, sitting beside him. Taeho nodded. He had been expecting this moment. "What I saw today at the school," Hanul began. "No normal person could do those things." Taeho looked at her. In his training, if a human discovered his true nature, he was supposed to report it immediately. His people would come and erase the human's memory. But his communicator sat unused in his pocket. "Who are you really, Taeho?" Hanul asked directly. Taeho made a decision. He could not lie to her anymore. Not after everything they had shared. "I am not from your world," he said simply. Hanul's eyes widened, but she didn't look afraid. "You're not human." "No." A long silence passed between them. Taeho waited for her to run away or call for help. Instead, she looked up at the stars. "Which one?" she asked finally. "You cannot see it from here. It is very far." Hanul let out a small laugh that sounded almost like relief. "I always felt there was something different about you. The way you look at ordinary things like rainfall or birdsong like you're seeing miracles." "They are miracles to me," Taeho said. "My world does not have such things." "Why are you here?" This question was harder to answer. "I was sent to study humans, to learn about your ways. My people have watched Earth for a long time, but only from far away." "Like an anthropologist?" "Yes. But I was not supposed to interact so closely. I was not supposed to—" He struggled to find the word. "Care?" Hanul offered. "Yes, care." Hanul reached out slowly and placed her hand on his. "But you do care, don't you?" "I do," Taeho admitted. "That is why I broke our rules to save Su-min and the others." "Thank you for that," Hanul said. Softly. They sat in silence again, but it was comfortable. Taeho felt a great weight lift from him. "No more pretending, no more hiding. Can I ask you questions?" Hanul said finally. "About your world? Your people?" "Yes. But I cannot tell you everything." They talked for hours under the stars. Taeho explained how his ship had crashed, how he needed to blend in until it was repaired. He told her about the Nuri, their advanced technology, their long lives, their scientific achievements. "Your people sound impressive," Hanul said, "but also cold. We do not have emotions like humans, or we hide them deeply." Taeho looked at her. "Until I came here, I did not know I could feel so many things." "What happens when your ship is fixed?" Taeho's face grew serious. "I am supposed to return and report what I have learned." "Will you tell them about us, about Jiwoo and Dae-sung and Su-min?" "I do not know," Taeho admitted. "My people think humans are primitive. They see your emotions as weakness, but I have seen that they give you strength." The next morning, something strange happened. Taeho's emergency communicator beeped. This had never happened before. He hurried away from the cabin to answer it. "Scout Taeho, report status," a cold voice said through the device. "This is Taeho, status normal, ship repairs nearly complete. We have detected unusual energy readings from your area. Have you been using your abilities?" Taeho hesitated. He had never lied to his superiors before. "Yes, there was an emergency. Humans were in danger." A long pause followed. "You have violated protocol. We are sending recovery specialist Yoon Kyung to your location. She will arrive in 3 days. Taeho's heart raced. What is her mission? To evaluate your situation and ensure no evidence of our existence remains. What does that mean? Taeho asked, already fearing the answer. Any humans who have knowledge of us must have their memories adjusted. It is our way. The communication ended. Taeho stood frozen. Yoon Kyung was coming to erase Hanul's memories. She might even erase Taeho's existence from all their minds. Jiwoo, Daesung, Sumin. It would be as if he never came to Earth. When he returned to the cabin, Hanul knew something was wrong. What happened? She asked. My people know I broke the rules. They are sending someone here. Hanul's face paled. What will they do? They will make you forget me. It is how we protect ourselves. No, Hanul said firmly. My memories are mine. They have no right to take them. Taeho agreed. On his world, memory adjustment was considered merciful. But now he saw it differently. Memories were precious. They shaped who you are. Over the next 2 days, Taeho tried to think of a solution. He could run away with Hanul, but his people would find them eventually. He could try to fight Yoon Kyung, but she would have weapons he could not match. The 3rd day, a bright light appeared in the sky. Only Taeho could see it, a small ship entering Earth's atmosphere. It landed in the forest not far from where his own ship had crashed. That evening, as everyone gathered at the cabin for dinner, there was a knock at the door. Taeho opened it, knowing who would be there. A woman stood on the doorstep. She looked human, with long dark hair and sharp eyes. But Taeho knew better. Yoon Kyung, he said quietly. Taeho, she replied. Her eyes moved past him to the humans inside. I see you have made yourself comfortable among the natives. These are my friends, Taeho said firmly. This is Hanul, and Jiwoo, Daesung, and Sumin. Yoon Kyung entered the cabin. The humans greeted her warmly, not knowing who or what she really was. Only Hanul watched her with careful eyes, understanding what her arrival meant. A pleasant gathering, Yoon Kyung said, her voice flat. But I need to speak with Taeho alone. They walked outside into the cool night air. You have failed your mission, Yoon Kyung said when they were alone. You were sent to observe, not interact, not reveal yourself. I saved lives, Taeho answered. That was not your purpose here. Maybe my purpose changed. Yoon Kyung's eyes narrowed. You have 2 choices, Taeho. Return with me tomorrow and face judgment for your actions, or be declared a deserter and never return to our world. Taeho felt cold inside. And what happens to them? In either case, their memories of you will be adjusted. It is our way. It is wrong, Taeho said. Wrong? Yoon Kyung seemed surprised by the word. It is protocol. Some protocols should be broken, Taeho replied. He looked back at the cabin where his friends were waiting. In there was everything he had come to love about Earth. The warmth, the connections, the messy but beautiful emotions. Tomorrow he would have to choose between his old world and his new one, and either way there would be a price to pay. Morning came with golden light breaking over the mountains. Taeho had not slept. He stood watching the sunrise, thinking about how he had never noticed sunrises on his own world. The Nuri lived in cities under protective domes. They rarely looked up. Have you decided? Yoon Kyung asked, stepping outside to join him. I need more time, Taeho said. You have until sunset. My ship will leave then, with or without you. Inside the cabin, Hanul made breakfast for everyone. The mood was strange. Jiwoo told jokes, but no one laughed much. Daesung was quieter than usual. Sumin kept looking at Taeho and Yoon Kyung with curious eyes. Are you also from far away? Sumin asked Yoon Kyung suddenly. Yoon Kyung's face showed surprise. Yes, very far. Like Taeho? Hanul nearly dropped a plate. Sumin, that's enough questions. But Sumin continued. Is that why you both look at everything like it's new? Is that why you can do special things? Taeho and Yoon Kyung exchanged looks. Hanyul pulled Sumin aside and whispered to her. After breakfast, Yun Kyung asked to see the town. I want to understand what happened here, why you broke protocol. Taeho took her through the earthquake-damaged streets. People worked together to clear rubble and rebuild walls. Jiwoo's restaurant was now a food station, giving meals to anyone who needed them. Dae-sung moved from house to house, fixing broken pipes and electricity. These humans help each other without orders, Yun Kyung observed. They are more organized than our report suggested. They care about each other, Taeho explained. That is their organization. They passed the school where Taeho had saved the children. The damaged walls were being fixed by volunteers. Parents worked alongside teachers to make the building safe again. This is where you revealed your abilities, Yun Kyung said. Yes, children were trapped. They would have died. And this matters to you. It wasn't a question. It should matter to all of us, Taeho replied. Life is life, no matter what planet it comes from. Yun Kyung was silent for a while. Then she asked, Show me something beautiful on this planet. The request surprised Taeho, but he knew exactly where to take her. They hiked up a small hill outside town. At the top was a view of mountains, forests, and the distant ocean. Wildflowers grew in patches of yellow and purple. Birds flew in patterns across the sky. This is unexpected, Yun Kyung said, her voice softer than before. Earth is full of unexpected things, Taeho told her. That is why our reports are wrong. We have only looked at humans from far away. We have not walked among them. We have not eaten their food or heard their music or felt their rain. Your mission was not to experience these things. No, but I did, and it changed me. They returned to the cabin as afternoon shadows grew long. Taeho knew time was running out. He needed to decide. Hanyul found him alone in the observatory. What will happen, she asked. I don't know, Taeho admitted, but I will not let them take your memories. And what about you? Hanyul's eyes were sad. Will you leave with her? Before Taeho could answer, his communicator beeped. Both ships, his repaired scout ship and Yun Kyung's, sent the same message. Warning, danger approaching Earth. Taeho rushed outside. Yun Kyung was already looking at the sky with serious eyes. What is it? Hanyul asked, following them. An asteroid, Yun Kyung explained. Small but moving fast, it will hit near here in less than an hour. The one I've been tracking? Hanyul looked shocked. But it wasn't supposed to come close to Earth for months. Its path changed, Taeho said. He looked at Yun Kyung. We have to stop it, Yun Kyung nodded. I will use my ship. What's happening? Jiwoo asked, coming outside with Dae-sung and Su-min. There's no time to explain, Taeho said. Everyone must take shelter. No, Hanyul said firmly. No more secrets. They deserve to know. Taeho took a deep breath. We are not from Earth. We are from another world. A star far from here. He pointed to the sky. Something is coming. A rock from space that will cause much damage. We can stop it, but you need to trust us. Silence followed his words. Then, Dae-sung spoke quietly. I always knew you were different. The way you fixed things, it wasn't human. Your food reactions gave you away, Jiwoo added with a small smile. No one gets that excited about plain rice. Su-min stepped forward and took Taeho's hand. Will you come back after you stop the bad rock? Taeho looked at the child, then at his friends. I want to, he said honestly. Then we'll wait for you, Su-min said simply. Yun Kyung watched this exchange with wonder on her face. We must go now, she said finally. The two Nuri walked quickly to the forest where their ships waited. As they prepared to leave, Yun Kyung turned to Taeho. I think I understand now, she said. Why you broke protocol. These humans, they are not what we thought. Will you still erase their memories? Taeho asked. Yun Kyung was quiet for a moment. Let us survive this first, then we will decide. Their ships rose into the darkening sky, invisible to human eyes. In space, they saw the asteroid, a dark mass moving fast toward Earth. It would hit near the town, causing destruction worse than the earthquake. The two ships positioned themselves in the asteroid's path. Together, they activated their energy shields, creating a barrier. The asteroid hit the barrier hard. The ships shook with the impact. Warning lights flashed inside both cockpits. "We need more power," Yun-kyung called through the communication system. Taeho pushed his small ship to its limits. Alarms sounded as the engines overheated. But slowly, the asteroid's path began to change. Instead of hitting Earth, it would now pass safely by. "We did it," Yun-kyung said, but her voice was tight with worry. "Taeho, my ship is damaged. I can't return home." "Mine too," Taeho replied. "But we can land again on Earth." They guided their broken ships back through the atmosphere. They landed in the forest near where Taeho had first arrived months ago. Hanul and the others were waiting at the edge of the trees. When Taeho and Yun-kyung walked out of the forest, Su-min ran to them. "Did you stop the bad rock?" she asked. "Yes," Taeho said. "It will not hurt anyone now." That night, as stars filled the sky above the cabin, Yun-kyung made a call to the Nuri mothership. Recovery specialist Yun-kyung reporting. "The situation on Earth requires long-term observation." Scout. "Taeho and I will establish a permanent research outpost. We will send regular reports on human development." When the call ended, Taeho looked at her with surprise. "You lied to them." "Not exactly," Yun-kyung said. "We will observe and report, but we will also learn and experience, as you have done." "And their memories?" Taeho asked, gesturing to the humans gathered around the campfire. "I think—" Yun-kyung paused, watching how Jiwoo laughed as he told a story, how Dae-sung smiled quietly, how Su-min leaned against Hanul. "I think some memories are too precious to erase." Later, Hanul found Taeho looking at the stars. "Will you miss your home?" she asked. Taeho thought about the cold, ordered world he had left behind. Then he looked at the warm cabin where his friends waited. "No," he said. "I was sent to Earth as a scout, but I think I've finally found my real home." Above them, stars shone like distant promises. Somewhere up there, the Nuri continued to watch and wonder about Earth. But now, two of their kind had stopped watching from a distance. They had come down to walk among humans, to share their joys and sorrows, to become part of the world they had been sent to study. The scout who was never supposed to get attached had found something his people had forgotten long ago. That true understanding comes not from watching, but from belonging.